Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 6 things that the most productive CEOs do every single day. Practical habits you can start using right now to take control of your time, focus on what truly moves the needle, and build a business that doesn't consume your life. Over the past 20 years, I've built, scaled, and sold businesses, coached high-performing CEOs, and studied what separates the ultra-productive leaders from those who constantly get stuck in the weeds. And there's one clear pattern I see all the time. Productivity isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. So let's get into the 6 habits that the top performing CEOs, the most productive CEOs that I work with, stick to. Number 1, they have a non-negotiable morning routine. So productive CEOs don't just roll out of bed and jump straight into emails, right? I mean, if you think yourself getting out of the bed in the morning and firing up your emails straight away, you're gonna end up going down some kind of rabbit hole. Instead, super productive CEOs, they have a structured morning routine, something that sets the tone for the whole day. So that means getting out of bed, perhaps doing some exercise, maybe doing a meditation, potentially journaling, reviewing your priorities for the day, whatever that is, but not getting out, jumping into email, going down a rabbit hole, and just kind of getting the day off to a really bad start. For me, it's getting out of bed, making some coffee in the morning, first thing in the morning, just kind of, no matter what they say, coffee for me kind of gets the day going. Then it's usually some journaling, followed by going for a run, getting that exercise in the morning, then coming back and getting into doing some productive, creative work before I even look at email at the middle of the day. The reason this matters so much is that it creates clarity and builds up your energy for the day ahead. So number 1, start with a non-negotiable morning routine. Number 2, super productive CEOs, they ruthlessly prioritize their top 1 to 3 tasks. Now, 1 task per day or 1 big thing per day is probably the ideal. If you're highly productive already or you're pretty productive already, then 1 to 3 things that you absolutely have to get done. As soon as you go over 3, you no longer have any priorities. So when you think about Jim Collins, anything more than 3 priorities, more than 3 tasks, big tasks in the day, then you don't have anything. You're just all over the place. So instead of getting lost in a whole lot of busy work, super productive CEOs focus on moving the needle or stuff that's going to move the needle, the activities that are going to move the needle towards their biggest goals. So for us in our morning huddle, each of the people on my team will call out 1 thing that they're focusing on for the day, 1 thing they absolutely have to get done that day. For me, it might be editing a chapter of a book. For Courtney's on the social media team, that might be making sure that we get the reels out for our podcast guests. For Stuart, it might be making sure that an article is put out who runs the content side of things. So for each person on the team, there's 1 particular thing that's got to get done that's moving us toward the goal, toward our ultimate goals. And for a CEO, this is super important, that you're coming in every day and that you're coaching your team on doing this, looking at what are the 1 to 3 things that I absolutely have to get done today. And the rule is that if it's not a high impact task, then delegate it or eliminate it. Top performing CEOs, people like Jeff Bezos, they have systems like the 2 or 3 big decision philosophy, where he has the 2 or 3 big decision philosophy. And that is, what are the 2 or 3 decisions that will have the biggest impact on my business today? And how do I focus my energy and leverage everything that I'm doing in terms of the work to get that stuff done instead of getting lost in all the busy work? So that's number 2. Number 3 is highly productive CEOs will time block for deep work. So if you take a look at your calendar, you are blocking out time for specific chunks of similar work. And when you think about the productivity killers during the day, like endless meetings or interruptions, those are things that pull away from that deep work. So if you're like me, the mornings are my deep work time. Get up, have my routine, go through my routine. Straight after my routine, I want to get into some deep work, and I will basically bundle creative stuff. So it may be that I'm working on a podcast intro or doing the work on the podcast's sort of post-production stuff that I want to get off to the team and just highlight these are the bumpers that I want you to use or whatever it is, or writing an article. That's the time that I will focus in on that stuff and get it done. And the productivity killers like endless meetings and interruptions are the things that just kind of take you off down rabbit holes again for the whole day, and you never get to focus on the key stuff that is so important. And this really worries me with a lot of CEOs that I start working with. They'll use AI tools like Reclaim to kind of slot things into their calendars. And sure, there's intelligent ways of doing this, but I think you got to build those systems first. You got to get used to time blocking, figure out your time blocking before you bring in some AI to do that work for you. So instead of taking control of your day, you're allowing AI to sort of clog things up, and that's not really CEO material. So really important. Number 3, time block for deep work. Okay, so number 4, highly productive CEOs master decision making with speed and efficiency. So they're not wasting time on overanalyzing minor choices. Like 80% of the decisions that we make can be made with probably 70% of the information. And there are frameworks for this, like you've got Eisenhower Matrix or OODA loops or Patrick Thien's Think, Plan, and Do. They're different matrices or systems or frameworks that you can plug in to help you to kind of get through that thinking and decision-making process. Warren Buffett avoids decision fatigue by limiting all the low-value decisions. The Eisenhower Matrix, also known as the Urgent Important Matrix, is a framework that helps CEOs and leaders to prioritize tasks based on the urgency and their importance. It's named after Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States, who was incredibly productive in strategic thinking. And the way it works is that your matrix is divided into 4 quadrants, as you can see, and helping you decide whether you need to delegate something, schedule it, or eliminate the task based on its urgency or importance. And those 4 quadrants, if you take a look at that, you've got do it now, like just get it done, it's highly urgent and it's important, versus delegated, which is not as urgent, low importance, eliminated, low urgency, low importance. And it's being able to kind of assign those things and just figure out whether you're going to delegate it, schedule it, eliminate it. So number 5, insanely productive CEOs communicate with clarity and purpose. The top CEOs don't spend their days micromanaging other people. They set very clear expectations, empower their teams, and hold short, high-impact meetings. So if you're spending an inordinate amount of time in meetings and you feel like you're constantly running around after your team, you're obviously not having the impact that you need to have, and your team's not empowered to do what they need to do. Now, this goes back to making sure that you're hiring the best people and you're hiring A players, and that those A players can actually go out there and get on with what they need to be doing. If you don't have that in place, it's probably a good sign that there's a big problem in this area. So some of the things you could do, there's daily huddles, standing meetings, very quick meetings. What did we do yesterday? What's number 1 for today? Is there anything holding me up? Have to do this with your leadership team. What's the scorecard? So having a weekly scorecard and check in. Where are we at? What are our numbers? And then asynchronous meeting communication where possible outside of that. So Jack Dorsey's philosophy from Square and Twitter on written memos over long emails. And then number 6, highly productive CEOs build in recovery and reflection into their day. Burnout isn't productive. The best CEOs integrate these micro recoveries, short breaks, midday walk, a shutdown ritual at day's end, something like that, to reduce or to take the time to recover, reflect. Yeah, I'd suggest at the end of the day, you take out your journal and your calendar and you take a look at what's coming for the next day. You close off the current day, reflect on your wins, your losses, what you need to improve. Ray Dalio's example of journaling and tracking his mistakes, but just kind of basically, what are the wins? What are the losses today? What can I improve? And what's the on-ramp for tomorrow? Am I clear on what I'm doing tomorrow? What my number one thing is for tomorrow? Now listen, being productive is only half the equation. If you want to see real growth, you need to have a real plan. You need a 3-year highly achievable plan to drive your business forward and get everything lined up behind. And in the next video, I break down exactly how to create that 3-year plan that aligns with your vision and actually works. Click here to watch it now.